Let the stained glass colors fall. Find your peace beyond these walls. The pastor's corner.
All right. In Luke 7, we move away from the Sermon on the Mount unto another situation. And it was basically a topical situation of faith and humility. And we're going to be discussing on Sunday in the centurion, the faith of the centurion, how that when Jesus had entered into Capernaum, that a certain centurion was made aware that Jesus was in the vicinity. And so he sent a group, a delegation, if you'll let me say it that way, of Jewish elders to tell Jesus, to request of Jesus to come and heal his servant who was at the point of death. Now, it is very likely that the servant was possibly a Jewish slave. We do not know, and I don't think it serves us to press the issue. But nevertheless, here we have a centurion, a Roman centurion. And now I'm not going to get into all of the issues here, but let me just bring up some of the highlights here. This is a Gentile, a Roman centurion, and we know how the Jewish people felt about Rome, who was occupying their land at the time. They hated the Romans, but this particular centurion had such favor with these particular with the Jewish people as a whole that he sent a Jewish delegation to represent himself to Jesus. But so it tells you about that relationship, tells you something about the centurion. And so the delegation, the Jewish elders, came to Jesus and they anticipated Jesus's possible hesitance. And in other words, he may not want to come once he finds out that this is a Roman centurion. And so what were they doing? They were saying to Jesus, he's a good guy. He is worthy. He loves our nation. He's even built us a synagogue. Now, concerning this particular Roman, he was not a proselyte. He was not a circumcised Gentile, but he was still what Luke would also say in the book of Acts, a God-fearing Gentile. In other words, he believed and worshiped the God of the Jews, but he was not circumcised and keeping the Mosaic rituals of the law. But nevertheless, so they used that information to press upon Jesus that Jesus would come and heal the man's slave who was at the point of death. So Jesus assented. He said, okay, fine. So he was on his way. But right before Jesus got to the man's house, the man sent out another delegation, this time a delegation of friends, asking Jesus, go no further. Do not come into his house because he himself is not worthy. Now, here is what you got to think about. Think about it this way. This is a Roman centurion. Okay, probably he's in good shape being a centurion. Not only that, in the sense of probabilities, he must be a man of some kind of wealth. What did the Jews say? He built us a synagogue. So this man had a degree of wealth. Can you imagine what his home probably looked like? You see, you know what I love about this centurion? He is nothing like any of us. He's not like us. We would most likely be like Naaman. When Naaman came to Elijah, coming for Elijah for him to heal him of his leprosy, Naaman wanted Elijah to come out and put on a big show for him. You come out and put your hand over the spot and raise your hand up to your God and heal me of my. And what did he do? Elijah sent his servant to let Naaman know, get down off of your high horse. This story that we have with the centurion is the exact opposite of Naaman. Look at the humility. Okay, the house. What do you think if the man had enough money to build a synagogue? What do you think the centurion's house looked like? No doubt it was a nice home. And what would we have been doing? I got a nice house. I'm not ashamed to have no. But look at the beauty of this man's humility. My home is not worthy of you to enter into it. I'm not worthy to even come to you. Now imagine This man was a man of authority. He himself said it. He said, I can tell slaves to do this and people to go and come, and they do just what I say. But nevertheless, look at the humility of this man. Even look how he addressed Jesus. He didn't call Jesus by name. He said, Lord. Now, he's not using Lord, I believe, here in the proper sense with respect to divinity, but he's using Lord, Kyrie, in the sense of sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at the humility of this man. But nevertheless, he says unto Jesus, now the great exercise of faith. He says, I understand what it is to be in authority. I say to one, go, he go. I say to one, come, and he come. That is understanding Jesus' authority. But you got to press it forward. This man understands authority. Now listen, in dealing with people, but not only that, when he made application to Jesus, he understands Jesus' authority over the inanimate, over the supernatural. Okay, I won't even get into it right here, but that presses you. He would say what? To men go and come. He said, Jesus, you could speak the word over inanimate things. You had power over things that it's just incredible. And all you have to do is speak the word. Your authority is beyond. Now, this man was absolutely incredible in his faith. And what happened? Jesus marveled. Now, oh my God, this is just an intro to our Sunday lesson. I can't get into it. But here is the question that I leave for you. And if you check out the notes, I've already supplied answers to help you out. How could Jesus marvel if you know everything? If you know everything before it ever happens, how can you be caught by surprise that you would genuinely say, well, look at there? And that's exactly what Jesus did. And what did he say? He called the crowd's attention. Check that man out. I have not seen faith like this in all of Israel. Not only was he drawing attention to this Gentiles' faith, but also at the same time, he was rebuking and reprimanding Israel for their lack of faith. For they were given the scriptures to expect the Messiah. The Messiah was given unto them in that sense, to the Jew first, then to the Gentile, and the then to the Gentile part hadn't happened yet. But nevertheless, in their scriptures, they were told to expect the Messiah. Jesus was born into the Jewish nation and a Jewish family. Jesus did his signs and miracles to them, and yet they were unbelieving. And here you have this Gentile, and he believes in the most incredible thing. And Jesus marveled. He said, this is really something special. And he reprimands the Jewish people for their unbelief, and he praises this Gentile man for his belief. And the man's faith was rewarded. His servant was healed. And in the end, you know what all of this becomes? It becomes a foreshadowing of events to come. For what will the Jewish people ultimately do? They will disbelieve and reject Jesus, even as it is to this day. Sad to say. And what will the Gentiles do? Many, the elect Gentiles, they will receive Jesus in great numbers. And this event foreshadows the future writings of Luke in the book of Acts. All right. See you Sunday.
The pastor's corner. The pastor's corner.